In the legal world, there is a combination of forces that feed a corrupt and suffocating legal system for attorneys. Law schools, law professionals, judges, and even the firms themselves for whom you work create a system, a matrix, if you will, that is nothing like what you thought when you passed the bar exam. The purpose of this podcast is to help you escape this legal matrix, leading you out of the proverbial desert to be free of the bondage of the matrix. Hosted by Bryce D. Nyer, attorney at law with over 30 years experience in the trenches of civil and criminal litigation at the state, federal, and international levels. He's a highly accomplished and resourceful legal professional, a true master of his craft, and he's here to help you get your life back. Here's your host, Bryce D. Nyer.
All right. This is Bryce D. Nyer coming at you from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg, with another episode of Escape the Legal Matrix. Woo! An attorney's exodus from bondage from the pharaohs. It would keep us all from living in freedom and going to the promised land. Yes. So I'm excited to be here. I want you to be excited to be here. So wherever time zone, country, territory, planet that you're on, I'm glad you're here with me. So we're going to lighten it up a little bit tonight and not be so serious, because life, as you know, is a very serious thing. It's serious all the time. And many people don't understand about this thing called a sense of humor. So tonight's topic is going to be something called It's All Monkey Love. It's all monkey love. That's what it is. And you're like, what the hell is Bryce talking about tonight? So I'm going to tell you what I'm talking about. So it's about 20 years ago. I was having a beer with one of my colleagues. His first name is Greg. I won't give his last name because I don't have his permission. But I was lamenting over some things, and we were at this local pub not too far from my office. And it's a great place. And we were having a beer and just talking, shooting the bull. And he just looked at me, and out of the blue, he said, bro, it's just all monkey love. And I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, it's all monkey love. Now, I kind of laughed at that because it was pretty funny. And this guy's funny as hell. And I have a great sense of humor, too. I really do. So, okay. Yeah, you know what? Okay. Oh, my God. Here we go. Yes, I know. It's hard to believe. I know. Okay. So, anyway, we're sitting there, and I just started laughing because it's funny. It was funny the way he said it. And so I didn't think much about it. So then I used to on Fridays, let my staff go early, and we'd leave early, about noon, because we were like burned out. So I went home one day, and I think my son was maybe about 3 years old at the time, and he's in daycare, and I'm like, hell, I got the place to myself, and I'm just going to chill out. And I was sitting in this really comfortable kind of rocking chair thing, and I flipped the TV on. And so the show Animal Planet came on, and I'm sitting there, and I'm having a heavy Weizen beer in this a tall mug that I pulled out of the freezer, frozen mug, import beer, German beer, and a couple slices of lime in it. And it was hot as hell a day. And so I had the AC on. I'm in the chair. I was chilling out, loosening my tie, and I'm watching Animal Planet. And so this program comes on about the baboons. And so in this episode, there is the male baboon, the female baboon, and she's holding the baby baboon. And so I don't know if you've ever seen baboons, but they're very strong animals, and they have really big teeth, and they're sharp. And they don't have any fur on their rear end, okay, for the most part. And it's like beet red. So you got to get that picture. So I'm sitting there watching this, having a beer, and I had another one, and I'm just kind of just starting to relax and chill out. And then, and of course, a part of our practice, we did a lot of family law. And all of a sudden, the male and the female baboon just start screaming at each other. So I'm watching this on the program, and she's clutching the baby baboon, and the mom and dad, they're just screaming at each other to the top of their lungs. And they can really screech, because I've seen baboons in real life. And so, I'm like, then all of a sudden they just stopped screaming at each other. And I just sat there and I thought, you know what? It's kind of like humans. It's like, it's all monkey love. And then I'm like, I made the joke. I'm like, I know why they're screaming, because their butts are sunburned because they don't have sunscreen because they're beet red. So yeah, you have to look at the baboon. And it was just that moment, because I'd had a really bad day. I'd been in litigation just nonstop all week. so much stress and so much pressure that sometimes when you're alone or when you're with a group of people, you got to have a sense of humor to get you through the day, get you through the week, get you through the month. It's essential to have, because in the legal matrix, some of you are going to call it the legal profession. It can consume you into this place of hatred and despair and fatigue emotionally, mentally, physically, and spiritually, to where you just you feel drained all the time. So for me, I've always had a great sense of humor my whole life. And I'd like to think, I got pretty good wit. And sometimes you have to use that wit and that sense of humor to get your point across and to negotiate and to deal and to litigate. And sometimes it can make the difference of winning and losing, not only for your clients or for your case, but winning or losing for you. So I want you to think about that in the back of your head, like it's all monkey love, because really it is. It is. It's all monkey love. When you look at interacting in the legal matrix and the legal profession in life, sometimes people kind of imitate the animal kingdom, though I think sometimes the animal kingdom, they treat each other better, not screwing each other over. They have a set of rules: hunt or be hunted. Some eat, they're vegetarians. They don't eat other animals and stuff, and they get along. But, in the real world, in the legal matrix and with humans, they just kind of consume each other emotionally, spiritually, and mentally. They just, take you for granted. And so as you law students or young lawyers are approaching the legal matrix, or you're in the legal matrix, you've got to remember that the sense of humor, having that sense of humor, having a little bit of levity can sometimes save the day. I remember one time I was in court, and oh God, it was this horrible custody case. It was what we call a special session. It went on for like 4 or 5 days. And on the last day, and we had a great judge. Oh my God, she's great. And the opposing counsel and I were in there, and we were trying to complete the case. And the storm came up. We lost power in the courtroom we were in. I'm like, oh my God. And then it was just like one fiasco after another. And then all of a sudden, from out of nowhere, over the speakers come this really bizarre music, almost like a Stephen King novel. It was like a devil voice or something. I don't know what happened, but anyway, so I was standing up. I think I was trying to make my closing argument, and I just looked at the judge, and I'm like, oh my God, this case is cursed. And everybody just started laughing. The judge did, the opposing counsel, even my client, the opposing client, even though they hate each other, everybody started laughing. And for a few minutes, it just broke the tension. It gave some levity in the courtroom, and it kind of greased the wheels to where the judge was going to go with the ultimate judgment, what was going to happen in the case. And I find in my life a lot of times that you will see in the legal profession, i.e. the legal matrix, that law school teaches you to be confrontational, to collide. It's collision oriented. It's collision oriented. And it's meant to be that way because you have to challenge the evidence, challenge state and federal government actions. Or if you're representing your client, you got to be zealous, and you have to represent or defend their interest. But what gets lost in this is that in the legal matrix, people become what I've always said are legal mercenaries, or legal mercs for short. And they just go at each other as if it's them personally being attacked, and it's hard not to do. And then it brings out the worst in human beings. It brings out the worst in attorneys, to where there's no quarter given. And you have to be careful in the legal profession, because if you lose your sense of humor, if you lose that levity and that ability to just kind of, tone things down, then it can come back to bite you, because you don't know when there's going to be a time when you're going to need a break, and you're going to need some relief from the court, or you're going to need the other opposing side to cut you a break. And if you fail to do that, then, you live and you die by the sword. So you've got to be careful, you law students and new lawyers, as you go out there and you war and battle in the legal matrix. Now, this doesn't mean you have to cave in. You don't have to, surrender and give up your position and compromise your integrity. What it does mean is that sometimes the best way to disarm your opponent, to take them off balance, and to give you a significant advantage and a significant gain is to use a sense of humor and to use some levity so that it puts you in control. Because when you're bitter and you're fighting and you're colliding with opposing counsel or the judge or whoever it is, everybody's digging in. Everybody's just backed into a corner and they only know one thing, and that's to come out fighting, come out swinging. And that's where you get the no quarter given thought process. And then, then it's game on, and you just got to be very careful, and it's going to be case by case basis. And I've seen a lot of attorneys that in the legal profession here, the legal matrix, that take this approach, just go burn the village down, just burn it all down. And I'm like, and then what happens is down the road, it comes back and bites them, and they think they're doing a service to their client, and they think they're doing a service to themselves, and they're not, and they lose perspective. So sometimes, many times actually, a sense of humor, a great sense of humor, can win the day. Now, you may not think that's true, but just think about the times maybe you've been really angry and pissed, okay? And you hear something funny or somebody says something funny and you can't help it. You just can't, it's funny, and you start laughing, and it just kind of breaks the tension in the air, and it brings you back down to earth to where you're like, oh, okay, God, what the hell was I thinking? Where was I? Where was my mind at? And so you don't have this deep hatred anymore, because hatred can eat you up. It can consume your energy. It can just take you off your game. And look, I'm not saying that we're all going to go through life and not be pissed and that we're not going to hate, certain things. But the reality is, in the world today, there is so much hatred. And, people just need to chill out. They need to take a break. And it may or may not be possible, depending upon who the enemy is and what the situation is. It's like, God hates sin. Well, he doesn't love sin. He never loved sin. I mean, it's clear, like in Scripture, God hates sin. That's it, the end. Now, how he manifests that hatred, is different than what humans do. He just despises it. He hates it. He can't tolerate it. It can't be around him. So, it's not say God doesn't have a sense of humor. God does have a sense of humor. I mean, criminy. He created human beings. That's a sense of humor. So, he sits there, and probably God, looks down, and when we have a sense of humor and we share a laugh and a joke that, that's not offensive to him or his ways, then, it's pleasing to him. And so that's the way sometimes you have to go through life. You're going to get in these situations, and you may not have the facts on your side. You may not have the law on your side. And sometimes maybe that sense of humor that you have, that levity, even if you don't have the facts, the law on your side, guess what? People think a different way when you're funny. They think a different way when you get them to just let loose and liven up, because the reality is that most people, they want to laugh. They want to enjoy themselves. They may put on this persona of, I'm aggressive and I'm Perry Mason, I'm blah, 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 and I'm going to go storm the beaches. But deep down, when they go home at night, when they're alone, and I've been litigating for decades, and I know a ton of lawyers, and I'm telling you that when I speak to them after hours and stuff, especially my close friends, that in reality, they don't like themselves sometimes. They don't like what they have to do. They don't like what they have to say or how they acted, and they feel a guilt and a shame about it. They do. And I will tell you, the lawyers say they don't, they're lying, because they enter into this thing of being lonely, and it's just them. And after a while, the human mind, the human soul can only take so much. And so if you're able to have this sense of humor, if you're able to have this levity within yourself that you can parlay to others, sometimes it's the most beneficial thing you can do for your client. It's the most beneficial thing you can do for yourself. It's the most beneficial thing you can do for your loved ones and for your team members in your law firms. So I want you to think about that. And I just want you, when you're having a bad day, I want you to remember, it's all monkey love. I want you to think of the mama and the papa baboon and just screaming at each other, and she's holding the baby baboon. And you're just like, oh my God, it's like a family law case. Oh my God, even in the animal kingdom. And then they just sit there and they chill out. So again, when you're having one of those bad days, those bad weeks, maybe a whole bad month, I mean, maybe it's everything's just going off track and going off haywire, and that's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Then you just have to sit back and you just got to have a sense of humor and some levity. And sometimes you got to make light of the situation, because when you make light, it allows you to come back another day with even more energy and a totally different phraseology and a different perspective. And it allows you to move forward. So I want you to think about that. And just remember, again, it's all monkey love. So again, if you have questions about this, and you want to discuss this and have that conversation, especially for those of you that really need to open, own, operate, and lead your own law firm, and you should be thinking that way, especially law students, so you're not in bondage working for the pharaohs, then shoot me a direct message on the social media platforms I'm on, which are typically LinkedIn, Instagram, or shoot me an email at brycedenier@gmail.com, brycedenier@gmail.com, or call my law firm at 910-423-5000. That's 910-423-5000. And, talk to me and have that conversation about working with us, hiring us. And we have this thing called the Junior Partner Program, where we bring students in to actually sit at the table with us and make command decisions about where we go. It's a real world experience. It's not just throwing you in a corner doing some legal research. The other thing I want to do is I want to throw my love and thanks out to Bryce Prescott. His company is the one that produces my podcast. This guy is also a professional comedian. He's funny as hell. He's been instrumental in my life. I love this guy to death. He's an ultimate professional, one of the best podcast producers, in my opinion, in the world. And if you have questions about what he does and who he is, then just Google him, Bryce Prescott, or just send me that direct message and I'll put you in touch with him if you're interested in doing podcasting, which I think all of you should do. It can be a real great way of just relieving stress and getting your message out to the world, like we do here with Escape the Legal Matrix. So again, we wanted to lighten the load a little bit, have a little bit of levity, have a little bit of fun tonight, and just remember, it's all monkey love. And again, if you have any questions, you know where to find me. This is Bryce Denier coming at you from Fayetteville, North Carolina, home of Fort Bragg, and we are out of here.